Hi, in this video I want to teach you how to make this vest or cardigan. It's very easy to make, it's knitted, and the yarn is a beautiful yarn that I found at Michael's. It's a mix of color and make beautiful stripes on the front of the sweater. They are nice and thick, and the ones in the back they're thinner stripes. And I put some buttons in the front, and it's very easy. Like I said, you just make 3 pieces sewn on the shoulder and in the side, and you have a beautiful vest or cardigan for the spring. And here is the video. To make this cardigan or a sleeveless sweater, the yarn that I'm gonna use is from Loops and Thread, and is Charisma. There is 100 grams, and I'm gonna use 4 of them. The color is Bouquet, number 20, Bouquet, and is bulky 5. It's a really beautiful color because inside have pink too. The needles I'm gonna use, they are 10 millimeters or 15 US. You're gonna use tapestry needle, scissors, and buttons. The buttons that I'm gonna use for mine are gonna be these buttons. I bought them at Fabricland, and they are $3 for each pack. That was $6 plus taxes. They're really nice. Or you can use regular buttons, big buttons like these. I'm gonna show you how to put these ones on. But I'm gonna use this one for mine. For this one, I don't need to use the buttonholes or anything, or a chain to loop them together, because this one come already like this. These are really nice. They have different designs, but this is the one that I like the most for this piece. And I'm gonna put 3 or 4. You can find them in any probably store that sell buttons. You can check it out to see if they have this type. They're really nice. And you can use whatever buttons you like. Okay, let's start. Something else I forgot to mention, you're going to need 3 sheets of papers and pen or pencil, and to mark how many rows you are doing. And the name of the row, for example, we had to do 6 rows of pearls, and then after that you start with row number 1 is one pearl, and 48 net, 1 pearl. That's for the back. The back we're gonna cast 50 stitches, and for the 2 front part, 22 stitches in each one of them. But I'm gonna explain this as I go. We're gonna start with the left side of our piece, because I already made the right side and the back piece. They're very easy to make. I'm gonna show you. For the right side, we're gonna do 6 rows of pearl, and then we're gonna start 1 pearl, 17 net, and 4 pearl. That way, those 4 pearl will be in the right side for the seam. I'm gonna show you for the middle. This is the left side. It has 6 rows of pearl on the bottom, and these 4 pearls in the beginning, like that, and 1 pearl at the end. So if I change this around to put it facing me, like this is the inside, this is the right side of my piece. You see? And the other on the left side will be in here, these 4 pearls. It's really nice because I like the way the color change, all these different color that it has. It look really beautiful. This yarn, I found them at Michael. They were on sale. They were 2 for $8. And look at the back piece. I already made my back piece. Since the back piece is a wider piece, the stripes are thinner, and you get more color. And look how nice it looks. It's very easy to make. Any beginner can make this. This is my 6 row of pearl for the border in the bottom. And then you're gonna do 1 pearl, 48 net, and you're gonna end with a pearl. That is in the right side, and the wrong side is all pearls. So I'm gonna continue. Let's continue with our work. Okay, we're gonna leave a piece of yarn long enough to cast our 22 stitches. We're gonna do a slip knot, and we're gonna put it through our needle. Now we're gonna cast 22, and that will be our first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will meet you here when I have my 22 stitches on my needle. Here I finished casting on my 22 stitches. I did a little knot there, that way I secure the first stitch, and now we're gonna purl. All the way to the end. This yarn is gorgeous. It's nice and thick, and working with a thick yarn and bigger needles, you go faster and it look amazing. I bought tons of this yarn. They had it on sale on Michael, and I went, let me show you the colors that I bought. They have gorgeous colors in this type of yarn. They have this one. Look at how gorgeous that is. And then they have different colors inside. Look at that turquoise inside. They have this one. You see, have grays, and they're beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I went to the store and I went crazy when I saw all these beautiful colors. And my husband said, "What are you gonna do with all that yarn?" I said, "Well, I will figure out what to do with them." And I have this one. I bought this one to make a sweater for my husband. This is really nice and dark with a lighter color inside. They are gorgeous. They had them, they were 2 for $8, and regular they were $6.99 each. So I just went and bought a few to have a nice supply for other projects. So you're gonna continue doing your purl all the way to the end, and I'll meet you here and the way back. Here I finished row number 1. Now we're going to start row number 2, and here, I forgot to mention that here in the top, where I put my 6th row of purl, I put from 1 to 6, and now I'm going to mark off that I did row number 1. That way I know when I have the 6th row. But anyway, I got myself by the tail. Now we're going to start row number 2, and it's purl. Like this, you're going to do 6 row for the border. And then after that, we'll start with our stitch. The design that I'm doing is nice and easy. I try to do it as easy as I can. If you are an experienced knitter, you can do any stitch, a complicated stitch, whatever stitch you like. It's up to you. But I'm trying to do it as simple as I can. That way, for those beginners can do it, it will be easier for them. Something that I've wanted to mention, that I did 22 stitches for the front and 50 for the back. If you're a smaller person and you want it smaller, you can do cast on enough stitch to go from your belly button to the side of your body, where where the seam for the clothes go, just like there. And then from there, you'll do the other side too. For the back, I did 22 and 22, that was 44. And those extra stitches, 6 stitches, is for the part on top of the collar that I'm going to leave that space. So you can do it bigger, you can do it smaller. This is no even numbers or whatever number, well, even numbers they are, but they are not, you have to do this amount of stitches in order to get this design. No, you can do, it's not multiple or anything. It's up to you. You can do it smaller, you can do it bigger. Okay, I'll meet you here at the end of this row. The 6th row, sorry. I'm gonna do my 6th row. I will meet you here when I finish and we start with our stitch. Here I finished my 6th row of purl, just like that. And now, because this one is the left side, and this one will be the inside of your piece, the 4 pearls that we'll do all the time have to be here in this side here. And then we have to start here with a pearl, 1 pearl. You'll see how easy it is. 1 pearl. Now we're gonna do 17 net. I'll meet you here when I have my 17 net. Here I finished my 17 net. Now I'm gonna do my 4 pearl, and this is the border for the front. Now you turn your work around, and all this side is pearl. And this side you get the nets, and this side you get the pearls. I'm gonna show you the front part here. You see, all the inside of the piece is pearl, and in here net plus the border that they're pearl, and the pearl at the end. The pieces don't gonna be exactly the same because in the way of the color gonna be in different parts of the piece. So I'll meet you here at the next row. This one's a row of pearl. Don't forget to start crossing the rows you guys are doing. You always have to do that. If you don't have a row marker, you have to do it with a piece of paper. And you have to guide yourself with that. Something else that I wanted to mention, since these yarn are multicolor, the 2 pieces don't gonna be exactly the same. For example, in here, this one, the pink on the top, don't gonna match the pink and the other side. Probably will be a green on the other side. That is the way the yarn it is, the way the ball of yarn it is, and if you want to match it, you have to be cutting the yarn and matching little pieces and like that, and I don't want to do that. Here I bond off or cast off with a different color yarn. That way when I'm gonna start sewing, I will be sewing here in these pieces here to the back, and then we will remove that yarn, and I will show you at the end how to do that. You're gonna continue. This is the right side of the piece, and you're gonna do your purl, 17 net and 4 purl. You have to do that all the way until you have 68 row. Remember, 1 row, the right side is 1 purl, 17 net and 4 purl. The right side of the piece will be all pearls. And like that, you're going to continue until you finish with a row of pearl, and then we'll cast off or bind off on row 68. And don't forget to mark, because otherwise you're going to lose the track of how many rows you have done, and then you don't want to have the same amount of row in each pieces. And that's a better way to keep track. For example, you're doing this, you have to go to answer the phone or go to dinner, do something, go out, and you come back to your work and you know the number of rows that you have done. Okay, I will meet you here when we finish row 68 to cast off or bind off. And now my 4 stitch of purl. Something that I wanted to mention, don't forget, mark every single time you do a row. You have to mark your row down because you don't want to forget what row you are. Just in case you have to go and do something, you have to have it down. Here is 1 purl, 17 net, 4 purl. And then the next will be purl all. 1 purl, 17 net, 4 purl. And then the next one purl all. Now I'm going to do row number 9. Remember, I never count those 6 border stitch, 6 borders row, sorry. The one that we did of purl, I don't count those. I start counting when I start doing this. The 1 purl, 17 net, and 4 purl. Like that, you're gonna continue. Working. This is a beautiful yarn, and the piece will look nice because the color gonna be in different places. It'll be like an abstract piece of art. I love the buttons that I bought for this piece. If you can find those buttons, they'll be nice. If it's not those big buttons that I bought, they have the white ones or any other color. And the bigger the button, the better, because it will look more bulkier. It will look really nice, the piece. I'm gonna continue. 1 more net and my 4 purls at the end. And the next row will be all purls. And 4. Now I'm gonna show you the 2 pieces together, the 2 front pieces like this. That way you see how this is gonna match the other one, and the color will be in different places. This is the other side. I'm gonna put it in front of this one, and you see the purple match almost, but the other color will be different. Just like this. Let me move my camera. And like that's how you're gonna have, you see the 4 purl and here, and the 4 purl on the other side, and the rest of net. And the row of, the 6 row of purls. That will be really nice. So I'll meet you here in row 68, that will be a row of purl, and then we'll start casting out, bind off with a different color yarn that you need a little piece to do that. Don't matter if it's thick or thin, just a piece of a yarn. I finished with my piece. Now I'm going to show you how to cast it off or bind off, and then after that I'm going to show you a review how to do the other side with this for the right side, and how to do the back part. Just a small 1 row of each. Okay, now you're gonna grab the yarn that you're gonna use, and this you're gonna do it just to the front and to the 2 front part. And you're gonna purl 1 and 2, and you're gonna pass this one in front of this one, and then you're gonna cut this tail long enough for sewing the top of this piece, the shoulder piece, and you're gonna purl all the way to the end, casting off with purls. So I'll meet you here to show you how to do the other 2 parts. To do the right side of the piece, I'm going to show you how to do the this part with the 4 purl. I have to be in the side of the tail. Now we're going to purl 4. We're gonna knit 17, and purl 1, just like that. To do the other side, the left side, you have to start with 1 purl, 17 net, and 4 purl. That will be the opposite of this one, and that way when you put them next to each other, they will be the right side, you know, meeting each other in the right way. Other than that, they are both the same. $17 and the last one, the pearl. Just like that, you're going to continue all the way each time you have to do it. For the back piece, we're going to cast on 50 stitches. We're going to do 6 rows of purl one way and purl the other way for 6 rows, and that is the border, the same that we did for the front piece. For this one, neither we're going to count these 6, we're going to start counting in this one after the row number 7 is when we're going to start counting, but we're going to count row number 7 as number 1. Remember, you have to end where you have your tail. And a piece of paper, I wrote here from number 1 to 68, and each time I do a row, I'm going to mark that row, you know, off. That way I know where, how many rows I'm done, and guide myself with that. And then for this piece, what we're gonna do is 2 border stitches are purl and the rest are net. So we'll do 1 purl, 48 net, and 1 purl at the end. That is row number 1. Row number 2 will be purl completely. The 50 stitches will be purl. And in row number 3 will be 1 purl, 48 net, and 1 purl. Like that, you're going to work this piece until you have 68 rows. So I'll meet you here at the end when I finish this piece. That way we can put our little sweater together or cardigan. After you finish making your 3 pieces, you're gonna sew, you see the pieces like that, and now I'm gonna sew the other part. I already marked here where I have my 22 stitches in the other side and the 22 in the front, and I got the piece of yarn that I was attached here, and later we're gonna start removing these ones, okay? And we're gonna start sewing. I'm gonna reinforce this part here because we don't want this part to come loose. And now you're gonna grab one from this side and one from this side, just like that. We're gonna sew all the way to the end, reinforce by the sleeve, cut your yarn, lose that tail, and sew the other part for you guys. And then we're gonna be doing the side of the garment. We're gonna sew the side and then the buttons. So I'll meet you here at the end, just like that. Like this, we're gonna be cutting this extra yarn. Be careful not to cut your work, like this, and then we're gonna remove them, and then let's start sewing the side. Here I have my 2 pieces. I sewed this side already, and I left around 20 and a half centimeters open. That way if I wear a long sleeve shirt, it's not too tight on my arm. And that's how I did. I'm gonna show you how to sew this part. We don't gonna sew it in the purl that we did. We're gonna sew on the net. And then through the inside I'm gonna show you. You see, these are the purl, and you have a seam in the inside like that. In the outside, you'll see that it's nice, that you hardly see the seam where you sew the piece. That'll be really nice. Okay, let's start. Here I secure this part in the bottom here. Well, that way it don't get too much, that's the part that you need very secure. And now you're gonna sew in a zigzag, matching every stitch with every stitch in here. And this one here. Now we don't gonna sew where we have the purl, this purl that we did here. We're gonna look on our work, and you will see the first row of net, and you're gonna grab the little leg at the net, and you're gonna pass it through there. You're gonna look in this side here, and you go to that net. Don't pull too tight, because remember we did here in the end, and this one we are just one stitch over. And you go to this one and this side, just to the net, leaving the purl in the inside. And you're gonna continue doing this in a zigzag, and don't pull too tight, because you don't want you want it nice and loose. And you grab this one in this side, this one in this side. Make sure that you grab the right one, and you're gonna continue all the way until you have 20 centimeter open, 20 and a half. You try it on, and if that's the open that you like, you just reinforce that there and lose your tail, and do the same in the other side, and then we just have to put the buttons. Here I'm gonna show you how you're gonna do the buttons. I'm gonna show you how to do these ones. You're gonna mark wherever you want your buttons. You put your piece in front of you, and you will mark where you want the buttons in each side. I did here a chain of 18, and I'm gonna do a slip stitch. To do a circle. And now these, we're gonna sew these to one side of our piece in the front, just like that. Let me pass it through here. Let's say we just sew it in there. It's there like that. Okay? And then what we're gonna do is one of the buttons, we're gonna sew it inside there, and that will be there so that's not gonna move, and you will have a little loop like that. And then you're gonna grab your other button. Let me see what I have left. You're gonna grab the other button, and you're gonna sew it in the other side, and then when you put on and off your piece, you will remove it like that, nice and easy, in that loop like that, and it will look nice with the two buttons in each side like that. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Since I'm gonna put this type of button, mine are like this. They're easy to put on. I just have to, you see they have the little holes already. I just have to sew them one on each side, and then they will open just like this. So I will show you when I finish sewing my 4 buttons, because there are 4 like this in my piece, and I'll show you the end result. Well, here is my end project. I finished. I put my buttons. I opened my yarn in half, and I sew with the same yarn. I put my 4 buttons. I put one at the end, like there, and the other ones like that with a nice open collar. And remember, it's very easy to make. It's just 3 pieces, and you sew in the top and the side, and you have a vest or cardigan for the spring. Well, I hope you like it. Give it a thumbs up and give it a try. Have a great day. Bye.